And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning, joined by our great friend, nationally syndicated talk show host, Lars Larson. Lars, good morning.
Good morning, Kevin. How's it going this morning?
Not bad, Lars, not bad. Of course, as a Patriot fan, I'm kind of
I know.
Feeling the pain, brother.
It's rough. It's rough. But, you know, if you read the story of Nick Foles, I was really impressed. I mean, yeah, I'm not the biggest, football fan in the world. I like watching a game now and then, and Super Bowl, of course, but that was really an impressive story, which I'm not hearing a lot of folks giving a lot of attention to. But as I read it, the guy goes to work for Chip Kelly and does an amazing job, and Chip Kelly fires him, and he goes off and plays for another team and does very well, and they let him go. And he's on the verge of quitting football altogether and decides to sign a short-term deal with Philadelphia. Again, he's pushed to the back of the line, and he's the backup until just a short while ago. And all of a sudden, he pulls it out and does an amazing job. So that's pretty impressive. That, I think, the folks who've been suggesting that a lot of Americans can appreciate that. Kevin, we've all worked in workplaces where maybe the folks we were working for didn't really appreciate our talents, and then someday things just take off. And when they do, that's amazing.
Lars, you're right about that. So let me quote the headline from the New York Times. After a year or a season of division, where does the NFL go from here?
Well, where they ought to go is back to appealing to their fan base, and I don't think they're going to do it. I mean, I've been very critical of the NFL because they don't seem to understand that catering to their employees is not the way to do it. I have employees, and I treat them well, but my employees do not go out and take political stands on my time because that's not appropriate. And most workplaces would not tolerate you doing that. If I were working in Boise and I worked at a store and I started regaling the customers of that store with my political point of view, and some of the customers told the store management, I'm not coming back to your store anymore. I don't want to hear that stuff. Store management, I think, would take it seriously. Instead of the NFL says they're going to cater to this bunch, including some who this morning are already saying, I'm not going to the White House. Now, Kevin, let me ask you this. Back when Obama was president, if a group of white football players had said, we're boycotting, if they'd won the Super Bowl and said, we're not going to the White House, they'd have been called racist. They'd have been accused, I think inappropriately, of making the decision not to go to the White House for race-based reasons. So what conclusion do we draw when black football players from the Eagles say, we're not going to the White House? Is that racism?
See,
it cuts both ways.
I would agree with that, and Lars, that's why we love your show, because you tell it like it is, where the mainstream media outlets only cover one side of racism, it seems.
Well, there is a theory that says that black people cannot be racist and that only white people can be racist because they're in a position of power. I think anybody can be racist. If I drive my car up to a gas station that's owned by someone who's a person of color, whether it's Asian or Hispanic or black, and he says, I don't pour gas for white people, tell me that's not racism. And yet there are people who say, no, that's not, because you're a powerful person because of your skin color, and he's a not-so-powerful person because of his skin color. Therefore, if he insults you based on your race, it's not racism. I find that argument ridiculous.
Well, I would agree with you, and considering, and you've covered this, we've covered this, where you have major universities and others speaking out against white privilege and this, that, and the other. I don't know if white is where it's at anymore.
No, I don't think so. I think what we ought to have is a country where if you hold somebody's skin color against them, you're a bigot, and it doesn't matter what color you are. The rules should be the same. And if you're not going to make the rules the same, you're violating the basic idea of our Constitution, which says we are all equal under the law. And right now, too many cities and too many states and counties have rules that are deliberately based on race. I wouldn't be surprised if Boise has some contracts that are set aside only for people of color. In other words, you and I could not qualify for those contracts. Well, why is that? Well, because you're the wrong color, Lars or Kevin. So, I find that really offensive. It should be that we should look for equality in all ways.
No, I agree with you totally, Lars. Let's get to the other big enchilada that you've been covering for quite some time, the memo. Your thoughts?
And the memo really tells us something very disturbing about the FBI. And I'd remind you, let's put this in context. Was the FBI always a sterling agency even under J. Edgar Hoover? Or did they engage in some political dirty tricks where J. Edgar Hoover kept files on people and even, I'll tell you what, surveilled people like Dr. Martin Luther King. Now, I didn't agree with everything King stood for, but he was a conservative man of the book. He was a religious man, and there were a lot of his points of view that I totally agreed with, and yet the FBI had him under surveillance for a while. And now we find out that the FBI had decided to obtain a FISA warrant on the basis of completely fabricated information. And while the warrant specifically named Carter Page, they weren't really surveilling Carter Page. They were surveilling the Trump campaign. And they were doing it, recall when the first FISA warrant was obtained, they obtained 3 more on Page because they had to renew them every 90 days. The first warrant was obtained less than 30 days before an American presidential election. So was the FBI trying to determine the outcome of an American presidential election, which in a lot of countries in the world, Kevin, wouldn't be all that unusual, that the people in power would use the agencies of government to make sure that their party stays in power. But in America, that's absolutely runs counter to our whole idea of representative government, that once you've achieved power, you can use the agencies of government like the IRS was used under Obama against American conservative voices, like ATF was used and the DOJ was used for Fast and Furious against the Second Amendment interests of American citizens. So I think that whether you're a liberal or a Republican, or a liberal or a conservative, or a Republican or a Democrat, you ought to be concerned at the idea that the government can be used to determine the outcome of politics. And I'd remind you that right before Nixon resigned, the reason he resigned was that they had drawn up articles of impeachment against him. Go back and read them. All you have to do is Google search articles of impeachment Nixon and look at them. One of them is attempting to use the intelligence agencies of the United States as a political weapon. And that was one of the articles of impeachment. Well, isn't this the same thing?
Lars Larson joining us here at KIDO Talk Radio. Catch him tonight at 6 to 9 right here on KIDO Talk Radio. Lars, you know, the point you make is so relevant because people have been criticizing the president for not going to the FBI with this, you know, when his son was meeting with the Russian attorney and this, that, and the other. Well, we've seen, and you've covered this, good people like the Tea Party, James Rosen and others being prosecuted for doing nothing wrong, and especially Mr. Rosen with the FISA courts.
You're right. And let me suggest something to you. The basic accusation against Donald Trump is that you, Donald Trump, worked with the Russians to be able to predetermine the outcome of the election. So far, the investigation has found no proof of that at all. Then let me ask you this. When they got that FISA warrant against Carter Page so they could listen in on Carter Page, and by listening in on him, since he was part of the Trump campaign, you could monitor some of what was going on in the Trump campaign, where did they get that information? Well, it came from a thing called the Steele dossier that was drawn up by a former secret agent, Christopher Steele. And where did he get that info? He got it from his sources in Russia. So, and do we know who those sources were? Even as of today, the FBI has no idea who the sources were. So they have no idea whether the information was accurate or not, and much of it has been debunked, you know, as just flatly untrue. I mean, they had people who were associated with the Trump campaign in Russia when you could prove they were actually here in the United States because they were doing things. One guy was going to look at colleges with his son. He said, "Of course I wasn't. I've never been in that part of the Eastern Bloc." And yet this Steele dossier made it sound that way. So if it's evil to use it for the Russians to be able to influence the outcome of an American election, isn't that exactly what the Steele dossier did? Because remember what we now know because of the Nunes memo, and we knew a bit of it before. Who paid for the Steele dossier? The answer is the Hillary Clinton campaign paid for it, and the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, paid for it. And how do we know that? Well, the Nunes memo and other sources show us that a law firm out of Seattle by the name of Perkins Coie that has Washington, D.C. offices was the transfer point for $12 million that was sent to a company called Fusion GPS. And Fusion GPS employed Christopher Steele, paid him $160,000 to create this document out of sources that he said he could vouch for. But we don't know who those sources were. And then they used that information to go to a judge and say, "Your Honor, we have this information, and we need a warrant." did they tell this FISA court judge the information comes from a secret agent who was paid by the Democrat National Committee and Hillary Clinton's campaign? No, he was not. Now, would it have been significant to a judge to hear, so the source of your info is unverifiable because you don't know who the people are that he's supposed to be talking to in Russia who've told him all these crazy things. And many of those sources were third or fourth hand sources. In other words, Kevin, I tell you something, you tell our friend Fred something, Fred tells Joe, and then Joe tells the secret agent. So when Joe tells the secret agent, hey, this is what happened, where'd that info come from? Well, it came up a chain of people who've all passed the story along. So how do you verify that? They didn't do that, and the judge was kept in the dark as to where the information was coming from, believing the FBI has vetted all this. This is really, in a lot of ways, worse than Watergate, because in Watergate, there was attempted wiretapping of the DNC headquarters at the Watergate building, and there was also theft of some documents. This was that where you've actually got the FBI acting on behalf of an American presidential campaign, and that's crazy. I mean, if we allow people to do that, then American representative government is over.
Lars Larson, Lars, we always appreciate you. Look forward to hearing what you have to say about these stories and so much more coming up this week, sir.
Hey, Kevin, by the way, can I leave you with one last thing?
Yes, sir.
Edwin Jackson, the linebacker who died from the Colts over the weekend, killed by a drunk driver. Do you know the drunk driver they have in custody in that Indiana case is an illegal alien from Mexico who had no driver's license, but he did have a .15 blood alcohol level.
Amazing.
And he's being held on a deportation detainer. So tell me that having illegal aliens here doesn't have a cost.
Agreed. That's why we listen to you, Lars.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care, Kevin.
Bye-bye. Our great friend Lars Larson. How do we top that? Well, we go to Pat Miller, my mom, who joins us now on my birthday. Good morning.
Happy birthday, Kevin.
Well, thank you, Mom. I couldn't have done it without you.
No, you couldn't have. This is a lot different than it was 50 years ago when we were in that little hospital in Ohio and it was snowing. I remember it was snowing outside when I was there with you. I was so excited that day. I never thought that 50 years later we'd be in Idaho.
That would make two of us.
We're so proud of you, and we just want to wish you a happy, happy birthday and tell you that I love you, and I am so absolutely proud of you, and I can't wait for Saturday night to celebrate your big 5-0.
4 to 6 at Dave & Buster's. I know we've been going over you actually trying to take over the event. That's
well, I'm all about the cake. You know that. I'm all about the cake.
I know you are trying to take the over the event. And I'm going, no, this is my event, not your event. You're not running it. And then you don't mess with Mom.
I have heard that before. I have heard that's very important not to mess with the mother. Where would you be without me?
Nowhere. I wouldn't be here at all.
I know. Well, I want you to have a fabulous day, and I won't keep you because I have to pass this phone over to your dad because he wants to say happy birthday also, okay?
Well, before that, is there anything you want to say to the listeners? They're all excited to meet you finally.
Oh, I'm all excited to meet them. I can't wait. I have my cans of food ready to go to give to Reverend Bill. Can't wait to see him. Miss him a lot. And looking forward to it so much to meet your listeners that I know on here all the time.
Yeah, that's the funny part. You were saying, do you need to call for tickets? I said, I think you're okay, but...
Well, I suggest everybody else call. We want to fill that room and fill those baskets for Reverend Bill.
All right, Mom. Thank you. I love you.
I love you, too. Here's Dad.
This is a call you've been waiting for. I'm calling from an undisclosed phone booth there in Boise.
I see.
Yes.
Well, many people wondered whether or not you actually exist because you're a very private individual.
That's right. Like Darth Vader. You can't really see my face, but you got my voice.
Now, there's something to look forward to on Saturday.
Yes. Oh, Saturday. I can't wait for Saturday like your mom. I mean, this is going to be one good party, and I can't wait to grab that mic.
Well, we can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Yes. There must be some things that.
Well, you're a fan of the West, though, and a lot of people that don't know. My dad, Larry Miller, joining us now here at KIDO Talk Radio, not to be confused with the Larry Miller car guy or the Larry Miller radio guy, the Larry Miller. But you do love the West, and you fancy yourself as a cowboy poet. Is that correct?
That's right. I'm a cowboy poet, and maybe I'll have a poem to celebrate your birthday.
Oof.
I can have that. Yes. Well, cowboy poets weren't really the big thing in the 50s, but they are now. So, and that's what I practice. Of course, the poets out here don't know I do this. I mean, if they did, they'd send a posse across the Mississippi and come after me. But I always qualify that. But got to be careful here in the West by doing that.
I know you love the West and have since you were a young man.
Yes, yeah. I before there were cartoons on Saturday morning, there was cowboy westerns, B movies with Hopalong Cassidy, Johnny Mac Brown, Tex Ritter, those kind of things, and that's where I grew up watching cowboys every Saturday morning.
And
so,
here you are now in the West.
Finally got so bad, Mom had to kick me out of the house. Says, "Get out there. It's a nice day."
Well, we look forward to hearing what you have to say. That'll be a good. I'm sure I'll be riveted to your words.
Well, I want you to look forward to hearing what I have to say. And I'm going to share it with all the people there.
By the way, while we have you on here, did you not tell me many, many years ago that if I had a brain, I would be dangerous?
You never can tell when you might get that brain, Kim. It comes at any time in your life. Maybe it'll arrive on your birthday.
Maybe it will. Maybe it will. I mean, where did you get that from? The Wizard of Oz?
Oh, of course, The Wizard of Oz. I really wish I could remember the song. I like to sing it for you, but you got to get that on and play it every now and then.
I see. Well, Dad, I love you, and have always appreciate your belief in me, and we're going to have a great time, and thank you.
I love you too, Kevin. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Boy, we need to get back to the crux of this program. What's that? This is the program? Let's go to Fred in Boise with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Fred.
Good morning. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Kevin Miller. Happy birthday to you. God bless you, man.
God bless you, Fred. Thank you.
I don't have the boys with me this year, but they'll be back next year.
Well, that's not only on AM, but that's on FM.
Right on. You sounded good today. You really did. I'm glad to hear from your mom and your dad. That's awesome. You're a good man, Kevin Miller.
Humbled to have your friendship, Fred.
Absolutely. Anytime. You know that. I'll be calling you soon.
Yes, sir. Bring the boys.
All right. Will do. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Okay, up next, more of your phone calls about the Super Bowl, the commercials, and the memo. All that before 9 a.m., only with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. And do want to remind everybody we'll be at Dave & Buster's on the 10th, collecting non-perishable items of food. And we would love to see you there for the Boise Rescue Mission. More information at KIDOTalkRadio.com. A couple things going on. We'll check in Washington coming up with our great friends from Fox News Radio. And, I'm always very sensitive because this program truly wants to reflect what goes on here in the Treasure Valley. That is our forefront. We want to make the world a better place. We want to make our community better. And, one thing that, I was thinking about, if you have any advice about what it's like to be the big 5-0, we would love to hear that as well. I thought I knew everything when I turned the big 4-0, so we will take your calls on that as well. 580-5436, and that would be advice to everybody. I certainly appreciate the birthday wishes. Very humbled by all of you. It's a privilege to be with you each and every day. It's something that we do our very best to earn. Myself, Ray Amaya, to earn your trust that you spend a few minutes with us each and every day. And it's something that we hold to the highest regard in our lives. And if you'd like to talk about the memo, the Super Bowl, or, any advice, it's funny. I remember talking to a friend of mine about how 40 changes you. And 40 wasn't too bad, but 50 seems very different. Is it? 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Time for traffic and weather. And Kevin Miller in the morning coming up. We'll hear from you along with our friends from Fox News. KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good.
And let's go live to the White House. John Decker from Fox News Radio on KIDO Talk Radio. And congratulate him. The Eagles beat the Patriots. John, you must be fairly happy.
Very happy, yes. I'm happy, like all of Philadelphia must be incredibly happy. What a game last night. Just everything about it, well executed, great play on the part of both teams. You take away the fact that the New England Patriots lost, no doubt that Tom Brady would have been the MVP, set a new record with the amount of yardage that he threw for, the amount of yardage that New England ran for over the course of the game. But look, Philadelphia put together a great game plan, and they executed it, and it was one of the best Super Bowls I've seen.
Well, particularly because your team won. Now you see it from
That's
the other
right.
side of the perspective. You're a little sore today.
Well, you are, but I think New England did everything right. They also had a great game plan. And Brady played, one of the best Super Bowls I think he's ever played. But look, one team has to win, one team has to lose, and I'm just happy that Philadelphia was on the winning end.
Indeed. So did anybody lose with the release or win with the release of the memo?
Well, I don't think that the president is correct when he says that the memo vindicates him. I didn't see it as vindicating him in any way. In fact, Democrats will release a memo of their own. If they get their way, a vote will likely take place in the House Intelligence Committee, perhaps as early as today, on releasing that, and then it would be up to President Trump to block its release if he chooses to do so. But, I think it's one of those things where transparency is a good thing. The more the American people know, the better. If we can see whatever information that Republicans left out of their memo, in the Democrats' memo, that will be helpful in terms of sort of filling in the blanks and figuring out what's the real story here.
Indeed. On the other hand, though, you have to wonder what's in the memo since no one, even the Democrats, don't know what it is. And you that always discern the truth from the hype, I mean, it's kind of funny that, okay, we have this one memo. Now we're going to have a memo that allegedly disproves everything, but, what's in it? Well, no one has seen it.
Well, obviously Adam Schiff, he's probably the author of the memo they'd like to release. Trey Gowdy was the primary author of the memo that Republicans released. That being said, we don't know fully what was in the FISA application that was originally sent to a FISA court judge that authorized the surveillance of Carter Page, a Trump campaign aide. We saw elements of what was in the FISA memo, but those FISA, I say FISA authorization, those FISA applications are sometimes dozens of pages long, and there was a lot that Republicans left out of the memo that they released on Friday.
John Decker joining us here at KIDO Talk Radio. What about John, as you've reported over the weekend and last week? I mean, it's great to talk about memos and Mueller and Rosenstein, but the government might shut down again.
Yeah, it may happen this coming Friday. It's the deadline for funding the government. I don't think they're going to meet that deadline. It will likely be another continuing resolution that will be agreed to by Republicans and Democrats to fund the government for another few weeks, kicking the can down the road another time. And I would not be surprised to see another CR on top of that one. John Cornyn has indicated, the Republican from Texas has indicated that would be the case. So, our lawmakers have yet to fund the government through the end of this fiscal year, which is September the 30th. And, of course, still to be resolved is a legislative fix for those DACA recipients, Kevin.
Indeed. Always the DACA. That doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon.
No, it doesn't. The president tweeting about this today, He's made pretty clear, he said so publicly, what it is that he wants in some sort of compromise. Democrats don't want to compromise. They say they just want a standalone piece of legislation that would positively impact the DACA recipients. They don't want to provide funding for that border wall with Mexico. That's what the president's insisting upon. We'll see. If Democrats agree to a compromise, that's what Washington's sort of all about, really, is you don't get everything you want. Neither side gets everything they want. But we'll see whether Democrats and Republicans can come together on this particular issue.
And the NFL, what's next for them?
I think a big question is whether the full Eagles contingent would come to the White House if they're invited. I imagine they would be. I think that Chris Long, Howie Long's son, has indicated that he would not accept an invitation to come to the White House. As you know, the president welcomed the then world champion New England Patriots to the White House last year, and I think every member of the team. Tom Brady did not come. He had other prior engagement, but every other member of the team came, and those events are always fun. So we'll have to wait and see if indeed that happens. As far as the NFL championship game, the Super Bowl is concerned, I think that ratings were down about 3% over last year. I think that the problems associated with the NFL have not yet gone away.
Hard to believe the ratings could be down considering what an all-time game it was.
Yeah, but also keep in mind, it's for a lot of fans out there, it's two East Coast teams competing. That plays a part in it. If you had, the Cowboys against the Patriots, for instance, or, another team that represents the South or the West against the Patriots, maybe you had higher ratings, but maybe that factors into it, the fact that you had two teams from the East Coast competing for the Super Bowl.
Always that dreaded East Coast bias.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's good, Kevin.
John Decker, you have a great day, sir. Thank you.
Have a great day, and I will talk real soon. Thanks so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Let's go to the phones here at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Let's go to Max in Garden City with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Max.
Well, happy birthday, Kevin Miller.
Well, thank you, sir.
For me, 50 was a year of reckoning. So
a year of reckoning, what does that mean?
A year of reckoning. That's when all of the stupid things that we've both done since we were young start to really catch up with us. When I was 50, I could still climb the rope with just my hands. Now, you've seen me. And I look at a rope today, the rope just looks back at me and says, ha, ha. I don't even try.
And the rope would look at me and say, give it your best shot, big boy.
Yeah, Mama just laugh at me. I wouldn't even try it. It seems to be a time in your life, in your 50s, when things like, I've heard your ads before about little skin cancers.
Right.
So here in my 60s, we found a couple of those and got those taken care of. It got harder to keep down to a svelte 175 pounds. It got harder to do many things and all the stupid things. I've not been a smoker or a drinker, so that's been to my advantage. I think if I had, I'd be dead. But it just made me a lot more vulnerable to the consequences of my life. But
I don't know if there's anything worthwhile to look forward to here, Max. I haven't really.
Well, my 60th was a rock and roll kind of time. My 60th birthday was probably the best birthday I've had in my life. So you got that to look forward to.
Well, any advice that you'd give us?
Just be happy. Just be happy. Always be looking forward to something. It's a management tool that I use, and it keeps me in my own crazy, happy self, and it's amazing what it does for your health. Just like today, I have 2 or 3 things on my list I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to a surgery on Wednesday. Yay me. Looking forward to another surgery on Monday after that. Wow. But I've got things that I can prepare for to keep me too busy to sit around the house and think, I'm on Social Security. I'm an old man. Oh, Wara. You've got your radio show. That keeps you young.
So you say, Max. So you say. Thank you for the calls, my friend. Maybe we'll
And
see you
have a
Saturday.
great day. Take care, buddy.
God bless. And Max didn't commit to the Dave and Buster's. Let's go to Daryl and Payette at KIDO Talk Radio. Daryl, good morning.
Hello there. Happy birthday. I've been a faithful listener since your first day you arrived in the Valley. Keep up the good work. I need to tell you, the last 4 digits are easy to remember in your phone number. I graduated in 54. I born in 36, and we share the same birthday.
Well, you know, the best people in the world are born in February.
I've heard that. And let me tell you a little something else from Payette. I graduated with Killebrew High School, and 4 years later, I graduated with Jerry Kramer at the University of Idaho, also with Wayne Walker, who played linebacker for Detroit. So I just wanted to share that. I appreciate your good work. Keep up the good work, and we share a birthday.
God bless you, Daryl. Happy birthday to you, then.
Thank you kindly.
All right. Take care now. All right. Let's go to Jim in Boise on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Jim.
Morning, sir. Happy 50th.
Thank you. How you been?
Not too bad. Keeping busy.
Are you happy about the Super Bowl?
Well, I didn't watch it, but not due to political reasons. I honestly, I've never really been a big football fan. I was homeschooled, didn't get into athletics, so just didn't have much appeal. I mean, I've seen a few in the past, but just wasn't into it. But I'm happy that the Eagles won. They have never won before, so happy for them. I wanted your opinion on something with the memo. From what I've seen of it, I've been able to look through it a little bit. My question for you is, do you think that, it has some names in it, but, the names that are in it aren't the people that, it kind of alludes to, knowing where stuff's coming from, the bigger names, but it doesn't have them in there. Do you think they'll be kind of beyond the law the way they've continued to be for the last several years, and just, the ones that were there, or some of the, might push it off on the lower underlings maybe to, for prosecution if it gets that far, for the bigger fish to kind of avoid it, or do you think that they'll still keep searching and look for a way to tie them into it?
I think if anybody had any guts, we'd have another special prosecutor. Mueller will be fired. Rosenstein would be fired, and God bless the Republic. Jim, thank you for the call.
Thank you. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you very much for the birthday wish. We go to Michael in Star at KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. Hello, Michael.
Hey, God bless you, Kevin Miller. You're a great American and a great Idahoan. Happy birthday.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it.
So 50 for me was a time when I learned that I had picked up a lot of lessons along the way, and it was a time that I could give them back because people took me more seriously than they did when I was 20. I've also learned, don't blink because, if you blink, we'll be celebrating your 60th before you know it. Been there, done that. It's 50 was a great decade for me, and I think it'll be a great decade for you. So I wanted to just wish you happy birthday and encourage you to keep up the good work. I really appreciate what you did for the State of the Union. Had a great time there, and hope to see you on the 10th.
We will see you there, Michael, and you keep those folks in Star in line, would you?
We're working on it. We really are. Take care.
Thank you for your service.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Appreciate it. My man, Michael in Star. Before we get to more of your phone I turned off my own mic. Jeff the Suit is here from management.
So, hey, happy 50th, man.
Thank you.
I didn't realize you were that young.
I'd like to have a good decade.
You
like
should.
Michael.
That's a very good goal.
Michael had a good decade.
I'm hoping to have a good decade, but we're doomed to working with each other, so here we are. I don't know how that's going to go. What do you think has been your best decade so far, if you had to choose? What would you say?
Wow.
0 to 10?
They were all memorable.
What a political answer. You are a great American. You're a great American spinner.
Yes, they were
That's
all
good.
memorable, yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
happy
they were.
birthday, man. Sincerely, and I love that you're doing something for others out of it, too, so this is cool.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. What about you? What happened to you when you turned 50?
Gosh, that's 20-some years away yet, so, boy, I wouldn't want to make any bold predictions. You know what my big revelation was this year?
What's that?
I was looking back. Facebook does, that on this day memory thing, and
Sure.
I actually really come to like that feature. I thought it was really cheesy, but it's kind of cool to look back at your progress and
Right.
for you at your past, 6 or 7 decades. I saw
Some would call it progress.
Yeah, you could. I saw one from 4 years ago, and that was right before I moved to the Treasure Valley, and I weighed 75 pounds more than I do today. And so seeing that picture, I was like, dang, that's crazy.
You gained
man.
75 pounds
I
since you've been
lost
here?
when I came here. So healthy life, happy life. It's, it's crazy. But it was amazing to see because you kind of lose track of that, when you're making changes. And I know you're in kind of the same mode here. It's kind of cool to start this new decade with a new commitment to living healthy. And for me, I'm behind you by about 10 years, but I'll be celebrating that milestone this summer. And I'd like to be even healthier at that point. So.
Is it tough directing old people?
Yeah. Yeah, the dementia is really the biggest challenge.
That was a challenge for me when I was in management, was directing people that were my parents' age or older.
Yeah.
Is that a challenge?
I don't think
I'm
so.
I'm specifically talking about me.
Right. With you, yes, but it has nothing to do with the age. It's just the personality at play. Now, you know what? For my whole career, I've been younger and managing people who are older, and what I found is that the only people you have trouble with are the ones that are problems anyway.
Right.
And, if it's just the work, hopefully it's mutual respect, and on you go.
Right. Now, one day that...
Now, did you remember what I just said? Did you catch all that?
Yes, but
okay,
one day that will change for you, though.
Will it?
Yeah, it'll be a shock when you're not the youngest.
Oh, well,
person.
we're pretty balanced right now. I'd say it's about 50-50, so
Right.
I think we're moving into that neighborhood.
But, I mean, when you take direction from a younger person...
Yeah, no, I do.
It's a very humbling thing.
It should be.
You have to put a lot of your own personal pride and
but
knowledge aside.
I've never focused on the age. It's do I respect the guidance, right?
I'm not getting defensive at all.
No, it doesn't feel that way. No cloud entered this room, tell you what. No, man, for being as old as you are, you're pretty nimble.
I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that for being as old as I am.
Yeah, I got to get these in while I can. I mean, today's the day, right?
I remember when I used to make those jokes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. No, the thing that I've noticed that's funny, and I'm sure it was me too, I'm certain it was me too, it's amazing how the younger you are, the more you know, and the more dug in and certain you are. And as you age, I guess you just forget how right you were that whole time.
Well, that's for most people. Myself and the president, we maintain that.
I wouldn't align there for your support system. I'd go independent on that one.
Well, we're making America great again.
Yes, one interesting tweet after another.
Sessions out, Rosenstein out, Steinstein,
You
they're
know,
all out.
the thing that I'm impressed with is when you act like such an innocent man, the behavior sure is interesting.
Indeed. More of your phone calls next at KIDO Talk Radio. And we're going to have to do the lightning round. Lori, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Hey, looking forward to seeing you on your birthday, Kevin. And also a reminder that today at 4:30 is the Rally for Tommy. I enjoyed the conversation you had with him, and he announced that Charlie Kirk and Candace Owen event is coming over. So looking forward to seeing you again, too, and seeing that event today at 4:30 at the Micron Business Building.
All right.
And love to meet Chuck Ambrose, too, at the State of the Union and listen to him today. So
All
thanks
right.
for the good work.
Thank you, Lori.
Hey,
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Okay, bye.
Sheila, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kevin. I just wanted to call in and wish you a happy birthday.
It's been a while.
Yes, I still listen to you every single day, Kevin. You've done a fantastic job. I used to be one of the people that could phone in and win all those CDs on Obama, remember?
Yes.
And but I can't get through anymore. You've made such a wonderful, you've got a wonderful following. I was one of the few that used to listen to the Manly Man section, if you remember that.
Yes. May it rest in peace.
The good old days, huh?
Yes, exactly.
Anyway. Well, very good. Well, 50 is great. 50 is wonderful. So congratulations again, and all the best to you and your family and all your listeners.
Thank you, Sheila. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Here he is, Tea Party Bob at KIDO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kevin. Just a few words of wisdom. You know, when you're 20, you care what everybody thinks. When you're 40, you stop caring what everyone thinks. And when you're 60, you realize no one was thinking about you in the first place. You have enemies, which is good, as it means you stood up for something in your life. I will tell you, as you turn 50, you're about to enter some of the best years of your life. And take it from someone who's been there. You've reached an age where you've become so diplomatic that you now have the ability to tell people to go to hell and they ask you for directions. It's a time when you change from being a pessimist who sees difficulty in every opportunity and instead sees opportunity in every difficulty. And it's more importantly a time when you become a positive thinker, when you see the invisible, feel the intangible, and achieve the impossible. So happy birthday, Kevin Miller, as you enter the prime of your life.
God bless you, my friend. See you soon.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Alice, you're going to bring us home on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.
Yes. Happy birthday, Kevin. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Thank God.
Oh, my
Thank
friend
God.
Alice, we appreciate you.
All righty. You take care and keep up the good work, and love you. We love you.
Love you,
Thank
Alice.
You.
Take care.
Uh-huh.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And Liberty Linda, you got 3 seconds.
Happy birthday, Kevin.
Thank you.